I told Maven project in the first class, right? Just I'll share my screen. So if you create a Maven project, I told you again, Maven is a separate topic in our Maven is a separate course. I mean, separate tool, not course. Sorry, in this course, separate tool actually. This one. Okay. So I'll be going in deep, but now we will see. This is our order. After completing JUnit, Mockito, the third tool I'll cover is Maven. So any project that we start or we build, that will use Maven. In the first session, I told like how we can create a, use Maven project, and then in form.xml, what I do is we use this dependency, JUnit Jupyter dependency. Okay. So we use this dependency JUnit Jupyter. So this when we add this dependency here, it will download, your Maven will download that JUnit jars here. And how Maven will download, I'll tell you when I explain you Maven 2. Okay, everyone is able to hear me, right? Everyone is able to hear me, right? Okay, good. Okay. So now what I will do is, in yesterday's program, we have seen a simple class. We have written a class with a method taking two integers and returning x plus y. That is, this method will add two numbers. Similarly, this method will multiply two numbers. And we have written unit test case to this. In unit test case, what we'll do, unit test case will not be written in the same file. We should have a clear modularity. You know what is modularity, right? Modularity means your source code. This is your source code. What is a source code? The program or the code which performs the business logic. This is your business logic, right? In my program, I'm doing a simple addition, simple multiplication. This is my business logic. Okay, but in some real-time programs, I will do some more complex things. Like I want to develop a bank project. I'll do some banking operations. All that banking operations I will write. Okay, but now this is simple logic, addition and multiplication. Now the test case where I will write in a separate file. I will write in a separate test file, which is called apt-test.java. So here what I'll do is, here I will write two test methods, one for testing add method and another testing product method. So what are the steps in unit testing? First, we'll define the input to be passed. we'll define expected output, then get the actual output. How we get the actual output? When we pass the input and call the method from the class object, we get the actual output. Now we use asset equals. This is a part of your JUnit. This method is a part of your JUnit library. So asset means validate or judge. Okay, that judge that expected output should be equal to actual output. In case if expected output is matching with the actual output, then this test case is passed. Otherwise, if expected output is not equal to actual output, this test case will be failed. What is the test case? This method. Any method that is annotated with @test. This is called test method. Similarly, we'll write one more method for product. Okay, here we call product method. And here also we'll define the expected input, the expected output, okay, actual output, and then writing asset equals with expected output and actual output. Very simple, right? See, if you know this simple way of doing, you can do this for the same process for the complex logics also. Okay. Now, why can't we write the same code in this only? Because see, our test case should be separate from the source code. This is your test code. This is your test code. And this is your source code. So we should have a clear separation. And one more thing is, why we are using this asset equal. See, if we don't use this, we can write in another way also, where we can use if else statement. If expected output equal to actual output, but that is not the correct way to do. When we write the test case in JUnit, we have to use these kind of things. What will happen is, these are a part of your JUnit actually. See, JUnit Jupyter assertions dot asset equals. Like that, there are so many asset statements. Okay, I'll show you what are those asset things. We'll see when we study the examples. Okay. Now, okay. Now, we will see one more example, one more small project. That is another project I'll do. I will create a project file new Maven project. Again, I'll create a Maven project. I'll select this quick start. What this quick start will do, it will create a project structure like how it has it created for the earlier project. Click on next. JUnit demo 2. com.JUnit demo 2 finish. Okay. You can take a running notes always. What I'll tell you, suggest is, I suggest you take a running notes and start writing whatever I tell. That is what we call running notes. Okay. See here, if you see, Yesterday I told I'll upload these notes also to in the Google Classroom notes. Yes, I think last session I told all these notes to you. Okay. Like define some input to be passed, define expected output, invoke the method, get the actual output, compare expected output and the actual output. If expected output is matching that, then test case is pass, else fail. Like that. I'll ask actually. I also don't have Google Classroom link. I'll get that from admin and I will upload that in this all these notes to everyone. Okay. Now, JUnit has assertion statements. So these assertion statements will validate or judge the output. Okay, examples we'll see. Assert equals expected output. Assert equals expected output, comma actual output. So what assert equals tells? So if expected output is equal to actual output, so this is passed. I mean, assert equals will make test case passed. Test method, test case or method passed. Instead of test case, I'll say test case passed. I'll tell you what is test case. Test case and test method. In a test method, see, for example, I'll tell you one scenario. This is your test method. This is your test method. This is your test method. Inside this test method, this is test method. Inside, this is your test method. So inside this test method, this is a test case actually. So inside a test method, I can have multiple. So inside a test method, so inside a test method, we can have multiple test cases. Okay. Now, for example, I can write one test case like this. I can also write one more test case. I can also write one more test case like assert not null of actual output. So what is this means? This will check if actual output is not null value. If it is not null value, then this test case is passed. Else it will throw error. Is passed. What you mean by else means if it is null value, then this is failed. That means in the same test method, I can have one more test case. In the same test method, I can have no, this is one test case. This is another test case. So this will compare expected output, actual output. This will compare if the actual output is not a null value. Okay. So one test method can contain multiple test cases. One test method can contain multiple test cases. Okay. Now, similarly, this is one test method. I can have multiple test methods in a single test class. See, for example, this is your test method. This is again another test method. I can have multiple test methods. So that means in a test class, I can have multiple test methods. Multiple test methods. Test method. Okay, multiple test method. Okay. Now, in a test method, I can have multiple test cases. Multiple test cases. Okay, like this second, right? Okay. Okay, like this. Okay. So this test method can test for one business method. This test method can test for one business method. So what do you mean by business method? In our earlier example, we have